Steve Gamache here with another Chef Knives to Go quick look product review, and what we're looking at this time is the Tanaka Kurouchi Aogami No. 2 Deba 165mm knife. So this line of knives, as mentioned, has a core steel of Aogami or Blue Paper No. 2 reactive high carbon steel from Hitachi. Heat treat on that core steel is in the 62-63 range. And the construction, this is a traditional single bevel style blade that is a right-handed blade. And so sorry lefties, and yes, I'm one of them. The construction is a soft iron cladding with a Kurouchi finish over the top of that core steel. So on the right side of the blade, or I guess what we call the front side of the blade if you're a righty, you've got that cladding on there, and then you can see the core steel. The left side of the blade or the back side of the blade is a little bit of an overlap for the steel, the cladding, and then this main part of the knife is actually the core steel. So this back part of the blade on a traditional single bevel has a slight concave to it known as an uda, and you sharpen it laying it flat on the stones, and the perimeter is ground away, and so you don't lift it on the back, you put it flat on the stone. Anyway, we'll take a closer look at it. So these are thick and heavy. You can see the spine there. So this is about 10.6 ounces or 300 grams. These are all handmade, so they'll vary a little bit from one model to the other. This particular one is 168 millimeters or 6.6 inches on the edge and about 12.1 inches overall. The spine thickness, again, is going to vary. This particular one is about 8.5 millimeters, and then it does start to taper off until you can see the chisel grind here where it comes in and thins out at the very, very tip. Blade height is 52, pretty common. The Debas are tall. The handle is an oval, just basic hoe wood with a plastic ferrule, and a bit of a step in the wood in the ferrule. That's pretty common as well for these. You could sand that down if you wanted to. Handle circumference is a little bit over the standard 3 inches right here, and makes for an appropriate size handle for this weight of a knife. So here is the close-up of it. This is a really good knife if you want to get into a single bevel inexpensively to practice on, to learn what it's about without sinking a whole bunch of dollars in. So the fit and finish is rustic on this, but it's actually pretty well done. The spine is on this one is the part that's got the most roughness to it, but it is carved out a little bit for a right-hander. I shouldn't say spine, the choil. Duh. Anyway, the finish is kind of a slightly modeled rustic finish on it. You do have hand chisel kanji. It's a little hard to catch that because of the Kurouchi, but it is there. And then you can see, of course, the blade road, the shinogi line, the blade road, and the core steel peeking through at the edge. Here's your back side, close-up of that. Got some embossed kanji here, and you can see the perimeter has been ground away, as is appropriate for this style of knife. And the back is slightly concave to aid in food release. Balance point, not a big deal with one of these in my opinion, but it's about right there. And then the grind on these are really pretty good. Sometimes you can get a little bit of a hit or miss on grinds on less expensive true single bevel knives, and it's a little hard to tell anytime on a single bevel until you actually put it on the stones and see where the high spots and the low spots are, and see how clean it is. But just judging by eyeballing this on a reflection, sighting down the blade road, it's actually reasonably clean. It's cleaner than some I've seen that are a lot more expensive. So this is a pretty good safe bet for a nice inexpensive entry into a single bevel. And if you want to try a Deba for fish processing, this is a pretty good knife. A 165 will cover a lot of different size fish as well. I'll tell you, a 180 is really heavy. You better know if you want a 180 Deba or not, and if you're dealing with larger fish. So you can check the Chef Knives to Go forums to get some advice on that, but stick with the 165 if you can, or even smaller if you find one, depending on the size fish that you're dealing with, of course. Anyway, so there you have a really nice high-quality entry-level product if you want to get into a single bevel situation. There is the Tanaka Kurouchi Aogami No. 2 Deba 165mm knife.